All right, so just to kind of set the stage for everyone, Bill told us on, I think it was Tuesday, that they have 9 purchase agreements out right now that are just open, and they're not hearing anything back from the seller. And looks like he's just now hopping on. Guys, I apologize. I'm gonna need 2 seconds. Phil, while you're on here, why don't you give everyone a rundown, kind of like what's going on? You're on mute right now.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
The big Jamie Malcolm's in the house. All right. So what's happening is that we have a bunch of sent contracts, and we're having a problem with with them signing the contracts over the phone with us. It just seems like there's always an excuse, always a time that they say that, hey, let me take a look at this, blah blah blah. Let me have a lawyer take a look at it. When I personally used to do them myself, give the offers, I probably had like an 80% chance to alleviate them from the lawyer, talk. I'll just say, hey, it's a very simple, contract. Let's walk over the main points right here. And 20% of the time they'd always still want to, talk to a lawyer, but we have not had that luck lately. I do take full responsibility for it myself by not, training my guys thoroughly on it. I do the basics, but it's probably just a lack of training on my end. I do admit that. But but it just seems like there's always an excuse. I don't know if we're not coming off as competent enough. When we are presenting the contract, I know we weren't that diligent as well with making the extra call to go through the contract. And I think one time, Josh, you said, don't even send the contract until they're ready to go over it, something like that. So
For sure.
kind
Yeah.
of not like a set in stone process for us. I guess our kind of thinking is, all right, let's just send the contract just in case, so they have it. I do like DocuSigns, everyday reminder, that they got to sign the contract. So we're kind of all over the place with it, but I see more and more it's just getting sent out and not being signed for a week, sometimes 2 weeks, with lots that still aren't signing. So that's kind of the summary there.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's dive into this and see what's going on.
Signing yesterday.
You guys hear this?
Joseph Scourgeous. Yeah. I thought that was William. That's what I thought that William was. Right. Walker, you mean? Hi, Mark.
Yes, speaking.
Great news. I just came out of the financial team, and they did want me to go over a couple things with you, but they did accept your asking price.
Okay.
Of the 130.
So right off the bat, there's no expectations, nothing. And then we didn't even tell them what it looks like to work with us before we ever told them what price we can give. So one thing I want to point out, the whole purpose of this, the reason why we set expectations is that we need to relieve fear, pressure, or any anxiety a seller might be having. And then when we come out the gate and we're like, good news, we're able to give you what you want, then it's way too easy. And what that causes is people to take a step back and they're like, whoa, wait a second, maybe I'm not asking enough. So then they go to someone else and then they bump up the price a little bit and start shopping it around. So that's why, the one thing that we do whenever someone's asking price works is our approach to it is one of 2 ways. And it's going to depend per person. And you're going to have to be, since you're the one that has the conversation, you're the one that's going to have to to provide any kind of input. So the way we do this is I'll talk to Sonia and I'll say, hey, you're the one that's got a relationship with them. Do you think that we'd be able to get them at, let's just say they want 150. Do you think you can get them at 147 and some change? And if she's like, no, they are stuck on this price, then I'll say, okay, then why don't you go back to them, let them know first, again, going through this entire script, set the right expectations to relieve that fear or pressure that they have. Okay. Then let them know what it looks like if they do decide to work with us. So they have a lot of clarity. They're not asking themselves, was this even a real thing or is this a scam or, anything like that? This is, again, adding credibility to us and how we operate. And then talking about their situation, how we're going to solve their situation. And then now we're going to go into what the property qualifies for, which is our offer. So once we get to this point and we've identified they're dead set on 150, they're not going to take 147 and some change. What we'll do is we'll say, hey, listen, financial team, they came back and they said the property qualifies for 147,000 and whatever odd dollars. And, we feel like you're a really good guy and I really want to help you get to where you're going to go. And I was able to fight for you. And the last thing that we want to do is trip up over any kind of, just $2,300 or whatever it might be. So I got them to approve the 150 today and leave it at that. So we would say that qualified for less, but we don't want to trip up and lose an opportunity and help you get where you want to go over $2,300.
Right.
So that way it looks like we're stretching our criteria a little bit and we're giving them a good deal. You know what I mean? Versus coming out and saying, yep, we're ready to go and we can do it. And then they're like, oh man, this is way too easy. There must be something going on here. There's something wrong.
Right.
So no matter what the situation is, even if like they're asking under and I'm still getting closer, asking, always kind of downplay, even if it's a couple thousand off, and then make it seem like I came up to what they needed, no matter what. I did them a favor, no matter what. Always keep that back pocket. I have their number, but I'm not going to give it to them in the first second that I talk to them.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And again, the whole purpose of negotiating, people always try to negotiate because they want to feel like they're getting a good deal, right?
Right.
There's a fear that people are leaving money on the table and we need to eliminate that fear. So the way that we do that is how we frame our offer, and where we go in, especially if their asking price is going to be a deal for us.
Yep. 100%.
So again, though, I can't stress the importance of setting these expectations and then also going through exactly what it looks like to work with us. And then again, letting them know exactly how we're going to help them with whatever their situation is. So in your process call, you're doing a lot of discovery and you're throwing out nuggets like, oh, you don't know where you're going to go. We actually have someone on our team that could help with this. Would you be interested in that help? Right. So once they say yes, okay, cool. We're going to put that in our back pocket. And that's where we're going to come here and we're going to say, hey, listen, you said you want to move because of X, Y, and Z, and we're going to be able to help you find a place. You mentioned in our other conversation that that's something that's important to you and something that's holding you back. Well, I want to make sure that you feel 100% comfortable with everything, and we're going to be able to provide a solution for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, as I said before, you can go into this, right? And then you can go into that offer like we just discussed. So let's go ahead and let's listen to the rest of this.
Yeah. And I'm going to see, Josh, that probably most of this is just following the script now. But, Eric, we've gone over 100 times, never to make it easy for these sellers. Never make it easy. Even when we get that great price in the beginning, which we all love right in the beginning, like, hey, I'm not going below 65. And we know it's a grand slam. You still got to, so always remember that.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's very easy to get excited. We all get excited about it, but we got to be poised in the moment, right? We have to hold our composure and just make it look like, man, this is really close, and we can't just jump out the gate and give them what they want.
Understand.
Right.
But first, they do like me to have a quick 5-minute conversation with you. It's actually less.
So the key here is, it sounds like you're going to go into that. I would just hold back what you said at the beginning of, hey, we can give you your price. I would go through. It sounds like you're about to roll right through the script here. So let's see.
Than that. Do you have about 5 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So I did speak with the partners. They let me know what the property qualifies for. They did come up to your asking price. Did you accept the asking price?
Well, obviously, I would want
Awesome.
to think that for a minute, but more or less, yes.
Okay.
Very non-committal language, right?
All right.
And the other thing is, Josh, is we definitely made it too easy for him, because first the guy said 125 to 135. Then at the end he says, I got to get that 135. So we still give him the 135, and now he's like, let me think about it. So it's definitely way too easy for him.
So how this works is, if you decide to move forward, then I will send over a written offer. I would like to just send that over so that you would have it to look at.
Sure.
We can go over it together, and I can answer any questions that you have on it. That takes less than 5 minutes. Once I get your autograph on the written offer, we would schedule a walkthrough just to take some photos and confirm the condition of the property.
Mhm.
After that, my transaction coordinator will be in contact with you just to put you in touch with the title company. And after the title clears, a closing date will be scheduled. Do you have any other questions about that process and how it would work from signing the offer to looking at it to title?
No, not at this point.
Perfect. And then, as I said before, there's no out-of-pocket fees for you. There's no real estate fees. There's absolutely no hidden costs, no inspection or appraisal fees. We cover your closing costs as well.
Okay. All right.
And I will close 3 to 5 weeks, but I can almost guarantee you I'll close before 5 weeks.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So you said you were going to send that contract over to me? I'm
Correct.
assuming
I would
you-
need your email.
Okay. All right. I'll spell it out. It's MARK
MARK.
dot ERRICHETTI at Yahoo.
At yahoo.com. All right, I will send that over to you. Once I get that back and I see it's autographed, I will give you a call. We would schedule a walkthrough. Of course, you have tenants. Whatever would be early and convenient for them, we'd appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
All right, let me put
Yeah.
that together for you and send it over, okay?
All right. I'm going to be, I have a few things I need to take care of, so I'm not going to be able to sit down and take a look at that for probably about
Perfect.
an hour.
Perfect. All right, well, I'll give you a call back maybe around 2 o'clock and we can go over it.
Okay. Sounds
Perfect. I appreciate it, Mark. Talk to you soon.
So even at this point, I would get him on the phone first and then send over the agreement. I would just get him on the phone. Hey, Mark, what's going on? It's Eric. Hey, I just wanted to make sure, do you have access to your email right now? I wanted to go ahead and send this over to you so we can review it together. Again, so that at that point we can set expectations at the end of this call, which again, we didn't do. So at the very end, it's like, okay, cool. When I call you back at 2 o'clock, the way that we set expectations is, hey, that call will take 5 minutes or however long you need to review everything. I want to be able to answer all of your questions and make sure you are 100% comfortable with everything. Okay.
Got it.
Yep. And then when I get him back on the phone, again, I'm going to cover the same exact thing. So I'll say, hey, Mark, this is Eric. Hey, I just want to make sure you have access to your email to go over everything here. Okay, cool. Like I said before, this should take 5 minutes or however long you need to review everything. All right. Again, I want to be able to make sure I'm able to answer all your questions and also make sure you are 100% comfortable with everything. Sound good? Cool. All right. So you'll be getting your email from Tiffany High via DocuSign. Let me know when you get that. Walk them through that whole step of opening it up and going through the 6 most important pieces and walking them through signing everything. So this is very big as well. And then making sure we get them on the phone. And then when we do get them on the phone, make sure that they have access to their email.
And when you guys are walking them through the contract, you're only bringing up like what, 5 points of the contract, 5 of the most important points.
Yeah, we have 6 for ours. Yeah. Yep. And I can run through that right now with you guys too while we're talking about it. So we get them on the phone, we set expectations, and then I'll say, okay, one thing I want to do is I just want to point out the 6 most important pieces. Okay. So first is line number 1, that's your name. And I just want to verify I have the correct spelling there. Okay, cool. Now the second thing is going to be line number 2, which is the property at 123 Main Street that we're going to be purchasing from you. I just want to make sure everything looks good there. Okay. Then the third thing I want to point out is line number 4. That is the price in which we both agreed upon, which was 50,000 or whatever it might be. And that'll be paid in cash at closing. Now, the fourth thing I want to point out is line number 7. It says inspection contingency, but as I mentioned to you before, it's not a legitimate inspection. It's just a deadline for us to walk through the property, take some photos, verify the condition. All right. The fifth thing, I think it's the fifth thing that I want to point out is line number 9. Okay. That says occupancy, possession, and closing. All right. So you said you needed, or actually the way you framed it in this, Eric, was you could close in 3 to 5 weeks. So I would just reiterate, hey, you know, I told you we could close in 3 to 5 weeks. So I want to go ahead and put this out for 5 weeks. Again, I'd rather tell you that we can close in 5 weeks and we close in 3 versus me saying 3 and then ends up being 5, right? So we're going to set this out for 5 weeks. And then the last thing I want to point out is line number 19, the additional terms and conditions. It says that we, the buyer, is to pay your closing costs, okay, and title insurance. We are also going to buy it an as-is condition. The only thing you are responsible for is the prorated taxes, which is a state of Ohio thing. Also, the last thing I have to point out is that a member of the buying entity is an Ohio licensed real estate salesperson. It has nothing to do with this transaction. I just have to let you know that, okay? But what I want to do though is I want to give you some time here to look things over. I want to make sure, again, you're 100% comfortable. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I'll kind of walk through the next steps here. All right. And then at that point, now I want them to review it. If they want to take a step back from review, hey, listen, I want you to review it while I'm on the phone so I can answer any questions you have right here. Okay. Now, ultimately, if they say, hey, I want to run this by my attorney, the way that we handle that is we say, okay, you know, I can appreciate that. Again, my whole goal is that you're 100% comfortable with everything. And if that's what you need to do to feel comfortable, you know, I can appreciate that. So the key here, the process at that point, is we need to get a timeline for every step of that process. So the first step is, how are you going to get the agreement in front of them? Do you want me to send it? I'd prefer to send it to them, so I'm in direct communication with the attorney. I'm just speaking off script here. Okay. So I'll ask, okay, you know, how do you plan to get this over to him? I'm more than happy to send it to him if you'd like me to. Right. Or if he's like, no, I'll send it over. It's like, okay, cool. You know, well, when do you think you'd be able to get it to him? Okay. If you think you can get it to them today, when do you think they'd be able to get back with you on any changes they might want, or if it's 100% good to go? Right. So I'm nailing down that timeline. Okay. So if it's Thursday, you think that they'll have an answer to you by the end of tomorrow. So, all right. So you'll have answers by then. What do you say we hop on a call Saturday morning, say 9 o'clock, to review everything, make sure that, again, you're good. And then maybe he's like, yeah, okay, 9 o'clock works. Cool. So now we've gotten the timeline for each step of that process, when they're getting it, when they're getting back to them, and when we can get back on the phone. Those are the important things that we need to pinpoint. And while doing that, we'll be able to see if they're non-committal and kind of brushing it off and not giving us definitive answers. Then now we can identify that they're probably lying, and we want to label this as a no. Okay. And in that moment, I would say, hey, you know, it might be me, but I get the feeling you're just not comfortable with doing this right now. And that's okay. And see what they say. Because if they're being non-committal and they're lying, there's some sort of objection there. So what we need to do is that we need to pull out whatever that objection is to identify, is this something we have a solution for, or is this something that we just don't have a solution for, right? And that's really the process when an attorney or an influencer is brought up.
Yeah, because it must have been something we said wrong, or they're catching a bad feeling, and so that's gone for no. With, I feel like you're not comfortable in doing this right now. I mean, that's a game changer question right there.
Right. And you could even hit them with, hey man, you know, Mark, we had a great relationship here, and I thought you were ready to go, and I'm starting to get the feeling you're just not comfortable doing this. You know, what's going on?
What do you think about this too also, Josh? Like, I guess about 4 weeks ago, I started advising Eric, like, you really have to pound on that urgency factor and kind of let that be the theme as well. Like, hey, we do have to wrap up another property soon, if not yours, someone else's. So, you know,
Yeah.
you're really not interested in selling because we have to reallocate this money. So do you guys use that as well?
Yeah, I would say Sonya not so much, but Jamari does. And so you have to be a little cautious with that because the last thing we want to do is apply pressure. When we
Mhm.
apply pressure, people typically run the other way. If you do your job and you hit the urgency piece, then you can lightly bring it up. I don't want to again be over them like you got to move forward with this or it's not going to be there. It's more of like a hey, I just want to let you know too. We do have a limited amount of funds and we are looking to reallocate that this week. I have 3 other phone calls today with other offers that we're making for some property. So I cannot guarantee that this will be there. And I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I did touch that in the beginning and I made him aware of that about, having funds available. We're trying to close something before the end of the month so we can close on it before the end of August. So I should have, when he started acting flaky, I could have sprinkled that back in there. Like, if this is something that you are 100% okay with moving forward with, if you could just give me a confident yes or no, I'd like to see where I can reallocate these funds before the end of this week. Just something in there to kind of like press that button. Like, is this really something? Is this something you're going to move forward with? Because when I asked him if he was definitely ready to sell it, he said, yeah, I'll sell it in 3 weeks. So
I got you. Yeah. Trying to have a better understanding of, so can you go run through that one more time, Eric, with what you're talking
yes.
about?
So when I came to him in the beginning, and it was a pass off to me.
Okay.
And then I ran the script down to him. And when you get to the urgency now factor, well, I'm glad that Lawrence got a hold of you today. We've had some closings last month. We have funds available to look into another project. So hopefully your house is a good fit for us.
Right.
Rada, rada, rada. And then definitely, are you definitely ready to sell it right now? Is this something that you're definitely interested in doing?
Mhm.
And he was like, I'll sell it to you tomorrow if we can get to that number. 3 weeks, you can have it. And
Okay.
but I should have, since he acted like that and kind of souped me up, kind of put the carrot in front of my face. I should have touched on that as soon as he started acting flaky at the end. I should have kind of reiterated that lightly, like you're saying. Like, so I do have funds available, but I'm not going to be able to hold on to them for long. Just like sprinkle it in there
Right.
as urgency on the end.
For sure. Yes.
Okay.
I would agree.
Maybe just to remind him of
Right.
his urgency. But did you call him back at 2 p.m. like you said, or 4 p.m., whatever it was, to go over the
No,
contract?
he didn't answer.
And that's when he just didn't answer. Yeah.
Right.
So whenever someone doesn't answer whenever we have a specific appointment set, the very first thing I always look for on the previous call, did we set expectations at the beginning and the end of that call? And when you look at this call in particular, you asked him if he had 5 minutes for a conversation. I think you may have talked a little bit about what it looks like to work with us. But you definitely skipped at the end of the call too, which is the most important piece because he needs to know exactly how long that next call is going to be. He needs to know exactly what's going to be talked about and what the result of that call will be.
In the very beginning, when he first picks up, hey, do you have 5 minutes for a quick conversation?
Yeah, but I'm saying
Also, Eric,
for your
when you're
next
calling him
call.
back, yeah, you're setting up expectations for the next call.
Right.
So the next call will only take 5 minutes. We'll walk through the contract.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
That's-
you didn't set that with him.
No, that was the offer one. On the last call, when I took all the conditions, it was usually takes about 5 minutes to let you know what your property qualifies for. But then
Right.
I'm supposed to open up. Obviously, it's the top of the script. So do you have about 5 minutes for a quick conversation? I skipped that and gave
No,
his
but
offer.
even ending the call, you're going to set expectations for the next call.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yep.
I don't have that at the bottom line.
So this was something that we ended up scripting out. So it wasn't scripted before, but I saw that it was critical that it was on here. So we added it to this script here. So I would definitely make sure you have this in front of you. And when you get,
Can you forward
What's
that to Josh?
yeah, it's in the folder here, but I'll download it and send it to you. That's very important. And then when you get on that call again, you got to make sure that you're going to set the same expectations. It's the same time, it's the same agenda, it's the same result.
I was gonna say one other thing on there too, that I noticed, like right when he answered, he said, speaking, and instead of like introducing yourself to kind of like bring back the conversation and like how we knew each other, it like went straight into it, like great news, instead of being like, oh, hey, this is Eric, with so-and-so, just catching back up with you. It was just like, hey, great news, instead of like a warm introduction.
Well, yeah, and to your point, it almost seems like he was caught off guard too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that he wasn't quite sure who he was talking to. And that could have just been a part of like this whole thing too, right? He's a little discomfort, or he's not very comfortable at the beginning of the call because he's not exactly sure right off the bat who he's talking to. Maybe he's a little distraught. That's a good point, Michael. So let's go ahead. So one thing I want to do real quick is one thing I just want to point out, trust the process, right? So I want to point out why this is the process and how we came up with this. So I've already explained that setting expectations, the whole purpose of that is to be very clear so they know exactly what to expect in our conversation and what the result will be, to relieve that fear, that pressure that they might be feeling. But everything in this paragraph right here is all objections that we would have whenever we'd send out an agreement and people would be uncomfortable because they didn't know what the next steps looked like. They didn't know, they were wondering why we had an inspection contingency and all of that stuff. They didn't even know if we were going to bring literally a briefcase of cash to their house, or like, was this going to be done with an attorney or a title company, and all of these things. So that's why we came up with that paragraph, was to alleviate the common objections that we saw when we were going through that purchase agreement. And then at the end of the day, though, remember, we all make decisions based on emotion. 95 to 99% of the side of the brain that we use when making decisions is from emotion. So we need to pull that emotional factor back into the picture here to put someone in a decision-making state so that they can make that yes or no decision. And then if there's anything that's going to be in the way of them making a decision, then we need to make sure we address that and remove it. So now they feel comfortable, even more comfortable, making that yes or no decision. So I just wanted to go over why that's structured the way that it is. Let's go ahead. Let's listen to the next call here.
Hi, this is Eric.
Hi, Eric. This is Glenda Aiken.
Hey, Gwenda.
Hey, I was calling you back. I did speak with my husband, and we talked about it, and we wanted to go forth with it and move on and see what the next step would be, if that's all right with you.
It definitely is. Can you do me a huge favor? What we're going to do is I'm going to put it in an offer and send it to you by email. The only question I had was, are you guys planning, like, do you have somewhere to go? Or I explained to your husband, I'm sorry, I told you about these headphones. I apologize.
So that would definitely be something I would address on a process call. One of the questions we ask, hey, let's assume you like our offer, you decide you want to move forward. What's the next thing you have to figure out, if anything? If they say, oh no, we're good. Just say, okay, well, I'm curious. I mean, do you guys know where you're going to go? You can always follow up and make sure you get all of those answers on the front end. That way you don't have to figure out the logistics when you're at this point, because everything should be around making them 100% comfortable, making sure that we have a solution for whatever their situation is.
So
We do train on that constantly with the owner occupant. We have to be very detailed on that process. So, yeah.
with this particular case, they did have a place to go. They were going to move into an apartment. They already had it set. But then at the end, they were like, oh, we might just go with our kids. And I was like, well, you definitely sure they have a place to go? And when I asked about what would be your next step after I come up with an offer and you agree. So them calling me back was me making sure first, do you have a place to go before I start giving you an offer and looking up on property and doing all my due diligence.
Got it. Okay.
But I would just definitely tidy that up in the process call, though. So this is just going to be downhill now.
Because the last thing you want to have that all figured out on the front end. So at this point, they say, hey, we want to go ahead and move forward. Okay, great. Here's the next steps. Let's get the ball rolling. Instead of maybe confuse, I don't know. Let's see what happens on the rest of this call here.
And Josh, the funny thing about this deal is it's a hot deal. A buyer already put his deposit in, for this deal already, and now we just can't get him to sign.
All right, let's see what happens.
That's okay.
Okay, so I told your husband, I said, we typically close, it's 3 to 5 weeks.
Right. Right.
So
I get it.
can you guys work in that time frame, or?
Do you need more time?
We can make it happen.
All right.
We can make it happen.
And when you say as far as you can make it happen, like you have somewhere you could definitely go, or you would have to call somebody and talk to them?
I'd have to call somebody and talk to them.
Okay, so we are completely 100% serious, and I'm going to
Lovely.
prepare this. I'm going to prepare this for you right now.
Okay.
If you can send me your email, if both of you are on the deeds, I would need his email and your email. Okay. And then I'm going to prepare it and send it out to you, DocuSign. It's going to come, Phil Vaughn is going to be the name that it comes under, but it'll be a DocuSign. So if you search in your phone, I'll give you a call back and say, hey, I dropped it off in your email. And then you would just search bar it and look for a DocuSign or look for Phil, and it'll pop right up.
Okay.
Then we do have to see the property. It'll be like once or twice we would come by just to make sure it's everything that you say it is. And then we ask our contractor to come by with us, and boom, we move forward from there. Okay. And it's just in these hectic times, trying to get these guys scheduled to come with us when you're home at the same time. It's like, my God, breaking little rocks in the hot sun.
I know.
Okay. So
I'm home, so.
Oh, awesome. Well, perfect then. And if you could just send me those 2 emails, I'll put that together immediately. I gotta get the block. You could just text them right to the phone number.
Oh, to this number, 609-201-0744?
Actually, no. I gave you a 5991 number. That's my direct. It comes right to my cell phone.
Okay.
I was at somebody else's desk. Oh my God! So it's like everybody's phone numbers are getting forwarded to my phone right now. You called the other phone number and it came to me, I guess.
Yeah, I do have it. I dialed it out. Yes, I have it.
Okay, perfect. So just if you're gonna text me that information.
If you're ever stuck in a situation like that, I would just say you called the main office number and it rings to everyone in the office for the first person to answer. Just kind of right now going through the process of getting contractors in, and then now the phone thing, and it sounds like you guys are pretty disorganized, to be honest with you. So I don't know if that's causing any fear too, right? So that's something I just thought of.
And also,
And it
I
just-
got the emails from her, just I would have taken them down right there, so we're not waiting on anything.
Yeah, it sounded like she didn't have her husband's email though.
Oh, okay.
They sent them right to me.
Okay, so you
I
got them
kinda
right away.
built- Yeah, I built great rapport with her and her husband.
Yeah.
The guy has an issue where he has to go to a place in between a mortgage company setting them up. The loan officer had like the whole conversation before this was a massive amount of information. I built great rapport. We're local to him, and it came down to he had to make sure that they could be out within the 30 days. So I had to redo a contract and send it back out to him.
Man, Phil, I don't know about you, man, but if a situation like this, if this is as good of a deal as you guys are saying, it's one thing to set the expectation, hey, 30 days or 5 weeks, but if they need 60 days, you're going to pass up the opportunity to make sure they feel comfortable.
Well, no, so I mean, I thought he was gonna say, do you need more time? Because it possibly does sound like they need more time. I think they're also in and out of the hospital, right, Eric? For some reason?
Correct. His wife or his mother was in a bad car accident.
Okay,
I think the best, if this agreement's still out, right?
it is.
Okay, so I think the best thing to do, Phil, is call as the manager today. Okay, and whenever I call as a manager, this is exactly what I say. I just say, I'll pretend I'm talking to you, Phil. Hey, Phil, this is Josh over here at Heels Homes. I believe you were working with Sonia, and I wanted to follow up with you. I always like to follow up with everyone, just make sure, Sonia did a good job. She treated you fair, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I get some feedback, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm curious. I'm not quite sure where things left off. How did things leave off?
Yeah.
And
no,
if there's anything that's uncomfortable with if there's any discomfort they have, they'll explain that right now, right there. So they might come back to you, Phil, and say, hey, thanks, Phil, for calling. Eric did a great job. He's a great guy. And honestly, we're just trying to figure out how we're going to get out of here in the next 30 days before we move forward. Right. And then all of a sudden, because they're uncomfortable and they don't have that figured out yet, they're not comfortable answering his phone calls.
Mhm.
Right. So you're able to come at it at a different approach as a manager and uncover whatever that discomfort might be.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love ratting myself out. So, I'm just all over the place. We have so many deals right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is post-COVID celebration or what, but there's just so many deals that I do that here and there, but I'm not consistent with it because we're closing just so many.
Yeah.
and
What kind of margins on this?
There's only 15 on this one, but I mean,
Okay.
it was one phone call, deposits in, and just
Yeah.
get it behind us. And right now, like I was saying at the retreat, that's a very low margin. I mean, we're chasing a lot of 40 to even now like 130K deals. So like I guess I'm prioritizing on the big ones and out there meeting buyers at the properties. And the bad part about this property is it's like 2 minutes away from our office. I could have easily just stopped by there and spoke with them.
Yeah.
But there's just like so many great deals that are taking my focus. And so that's kind of half the problem right there.
Yep. Is there anyone else in your office that can make that call? You have an operations person?
Now, it's just me, Eric, and Lawrence right now, and then my part-time IT guy, and then the VAs. So I
Okay.
do have a interview with a pretty sharp guy today at 12. I feel like just hiring him. Whatever price you want, you're hired. Start today. we need immediate help.
Yeah. So this one, honestly, they sound like they want to move forward. I think they're genuine with that. The problem is, me personally, just after hearing the call so far, I think that there's some discomfort with the timeline, based on the information that I have. So I think it's definitely worth your time when you're at this point and you have an agreement in front of them and they called you back. It's worth your time to give them a call.
Yeah. Yeah.
To that one. That way I'll have it. It'll come right to me. I don't want it to go into the main inbox.
Okay.
Okay. And
Sounds
then
good.
I'll wait for that. As soon as I receive it, I'll put the offer together, send it out. And then once we get it, the autographs, both you guys do a electronic signature and a date. Then we'll set up a time to come out there and take a look at it.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Hey, I very much appreciate your call back, and I look forward to seeing the property.
All right. So long.
Yeah, I think a big thing is just make sure we set a specific time to get back on the phone. And when we get back on the phone, again, just make sure that they have access to their email, send it over to them, set expectations again at the end of that call for when you give them a call back to go over the agreement. When you get on the phone to go over the agreement, set expectations again, and then run through everything.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, what I train on relentlessly is also, Josh, is even saying like 3 times when we're going to give you a call back. And that's especially what I do. Okay, so 4 p.m. you are available? Yeah, 4 p.m. is good. Okay, I'm just writing this down. So 4 p.m. All right, perfect, Mary. 4 p.m. I will be giving you a call back. So I try to state it 3 times just so it's just layered into their mind. But
Right.
Eric, you definitely have to, apply that part too.
Yeah, I kind of see where I'm slipping, where I kind of do a lot of my integrating follow-up. I did follow-up for a lot longer than this acquisitions manager. And I kind of go on the relationship I have with the person. But when it all comes down to it, the script is more professional and it kind of locks in their confidence in who we are. So I can see where some people would flake out, especially if they have timelines, priorities, and things going on. They need
Sure.
to count on the professionalism of what that script provides.
Sure.
And most
They
of
have to be confident you're going to be able to get this done for them. And
and
a lot of that confidence comes from that process.
And most of all, that script is scalable. Like just stick with that script because it's consistent and scalable. Like once in a while, Josh, I just pick up the phone and I can close a deal without using a script. I've done it all my life and I can be as hot as they come, but I'm not consistent. Maybe I pick up a call and I'm in a bad mood and I don't, build that rapport with the seller. So, that script is just very, very scalable if we just keep using it.
I agree. Let's listen to the next one here.
Hello, Trina.
Yeah, I'm out
Ah.
of the hospital. I figured I'd give you a call.
Perfect. I'm glad you're better.
I
Everything
couldn't
worked out?
walk at all.
Oh man.
I hurt my leg, and I have one bad leg. I couldn't walk at all, so I can't even drive
Oh man.
yet. Not yet. I just wanted to touch bases with you. What you want to do? Put signs on the lot? What did you want to do?
Oh no, so yeah, we just basically we can only market that to investors. We just want to get a price from you. I'll send out our agreement. Our agreement's basically the same thing, but I'm just going to put your asking price in there. And then we're going to market it to our group of investors to see if anybody bites on your number.
This is a different situation. Then you guys your goal is to be transparent with them and just let them know, hey, listen, we're not really going to be able to buy this, but we want to find out if we can find someone. Okay.
It's kind of too high, but we do think if we can, have some time with it, we can make a couple bucks on it.
Gotcha.
Months. I've been chipping at this boulder for months.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
That's something you'd like to do. I'll just resend that agreement to you. But what number do you want to solicit with our people as?
That'll be my number.
Right. That's
Because
the whole point. What was the number you were asking?
how much am I asking?
Correct.
Say we're asking 100 for the house, and we're asking 25 for each lot, so that say 150
Okay.
for the house and the lots.
So 150 for the house and the other lots.
The two lots. Because the property went up. Everything is going up high.
Of course. This is us just trying to do our best for you and help you any way that we told you we would try and help you any way that we possibly could. It seems like the best option for you. We're gonna try and do our best and just see what we can come up with for you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm glad you're out of the hospital. I hope all is well with the family. If I don't talk to you, have a great 4th of July. But we will be in contact. I do
Okay.
need to send you that agreement, so I'm gonna resend it to you.
Well, if you're going to send it to me, send it to my grandson's house because I'm with him. You understand?
Okay. Well,
I'm not,
actually, it's the
I'll give
email.
you the address. It's
Trina, do you have?
1001 Wayne Road, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Let me see what's the zip code here. Just hold on. Christina, what's the zip code here? 08002.
Got it. 101 Wayne Road, Cherry Hill.
I couldn't hear you.
You said 101 Wayne Road, Cherry Hill.
Yeah, 1001
1001.
Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Okay. You don't happen to have an email?
I have an email, but I got this new iPhone and I'm not working it right. Something is wrong. I can't even read the emails.
Okay, so I'll try and put this together, and we'll just drop it off at your house for you, and you
That'd
can give
be
it.
fine.
Okay, and then we'll work it from there. But if you come up with that email, give me a call back, please.
The email is Serena Miguel 123 Gmail. That's the email. Serena Miguel 123 email.
Okay. It's Trina McGill at gmail.com.
Yeah.
.com. Perfect. So it's your first and last name, Trina McGill?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. I'll take a look into it. We'll send that out to you. If you can't open it, we'll bring one in hand, okay?
Okay.
Perfect.
Because I can't even drive.
I'm just glad that you're out of the hospital though, okay?
Yes.
Perfect.
I figured I'd give you a call.
Well, I
Have a happy
appreciate
4th of July. You take care. God bless you and your family too.
The same to you, okay?
Bye-bye.
What did you guys end up doing with this? Sending an email or did you send it to the house?
I tried 3 different emails with her and all of them failed. We had to drop it off at her house.
Yeah.
She texted me back later on that day that she could take nothing less than 195 for all the properties. So I've been trying to get her on the phone to talk to her about, I can help you, but 195 is just impossible. It's just no way in the world. I mean, we could. I talked to Phil about it, but this is also Trina with 2 broken legs on painkillers, not very receptive to me. She has very bad medical issues with her ankles. I forget what that's called, but she's been kind of loopy. And
Yeah.
when she picks up, that number went from 150 to 179 to 195. Then she hit over 200. And I said, Trina, when would be a good time to give you a call back? Because she was just really out of it. Then I was supposed to talk to her son, Vinny, when he came back from Miami. But he's a very elusive man. Like I said, I've been chasing this for months. I've been out to the property personally. I spoke to her, I had good rapport with her, and then all hell broke loose when she went back in the hospital. Like her kids kind of left her alone, and everybody's doing their own things. And the kids are the ones basically quarterbacking the deal. They're the ones that tell her a number. Like she called them, and then 150, that's too low, and then they went to 170. 170, then the other son's like, no, 195, and they just keep on flip flop. I'm trying to get all of them in the same room or all of them on a conference call, and it's pulling
Yeah.
teeth. It's just pulling teeth with her.
Honestly, if it's worth your time, then it might be worth just scheduling a time to go over there and meet everyone. It's chasing everyone down to get on the phone is a lot harder than saying, hey, we're all going to be here on this day at this time. But honestly, it almost sounds like it wouldn't even be worth your time too. I mean, if that keeps going up, did you know that everyone was going to have that kind of influence on her after the process?
Most certainly.
Okay.
She has a kid. He walked through with me. The house is a complete disaster with like dead raccoons falling out of the ceiling. And he says, $10,000, $10,000 of sheetrock. I can sell this for 300 grand easy. I'm like, I just looked at him and tilted my head like a pit bull. Like, you're not sane. There's just something wrong with this guy. Not talking bad about, but $10,000. Phil knows what I'm talking about personally. This is like Twilight Zone ugly. It's just something you wouldn't go in to pay money as a haunted house. Like, but we're trying. I want to help her out. If we can market it for her and get her money, I feel bad for her. She's kind of like, she swears she's on her deathbed. So that's why I keep on following up and trying to help out however I can.
It's, I guess it's not on our biggest, priority list here, but I would have probably asked if that daughter next to her had an email that we can send it to her right now and then get them back on the phone just to try to have something stick,
Yeah.
Yeah, that and another thing too that we've done in the past is we've definitely sent out agreements by the mail, and we've gotten probably done it on 5 and we've gotten 4 of them back. So
That's good.
yeah, if but the key is though, like I'll say I'm sending this out today. Why don't we hop on a call Monday, follow up, see if it got there, and if it didn't get there, let's schedule a call on Wednesday. So we always have they're committed to some sort of action, right? At the end of every call. And that's
Got it.
committing to get on another call with us.
Now, Josh, what do you think your closing ratio is on the offer calls that they're signing right there with you guys on the phone? Like 80% of the time, 90?
You mean like when I call you back and I run through the offer script and then I send you an agreement and that same phone call, or are you saying get off the phone, call them back?
Don't reviewing the contract and them signing right there.
Yeah, I would say probably about 50-50, to be honest with you. Maybe 40% of the time. So it's a little less than 50%, I'd probably say.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because a lot of times people have an attorney, they have an influencer, and they're reviewing it with them. And it's just a matter of how you handle that moment that's going to make or break you.
Mhm.
And that's why it's so important that you're not like hovering over them, applying pressure. I don't agree with the 100% takeaway, because some people truly do need to go talk to an attorney, or they truly do need to go talk to someone, and that's okay. If that's part of their process of feeling 100% comfortable, we need to recognize that and just again detail out. We need to find out the exact timeline for every part of that process. When are you going to be able to talk to them? Right? When are they going to be able to give you an answer? Okay, then most importantly, let's commit to getting on a call at this time. That commitment is huge. And when you go and you start to say, hey, okay, so you say you got to go talk to so and so. I mean, realistically, when are you gonna have that conversation? And then you pinpoint that exact time. If someone's being very non-committal and just like wishy-washy when pinpointing those timelines, then you can identify, okay, they're probably lying, and let's label this as a no to uncover whatever their objection might be.
Mhm.
At that point in time, when they're non-committal or being wishy-washy and they're lying to us, they're probably lying to us because they're uncomfortable about something, and we need to find out what that is. So the tool we have to do that, let's go for no.
Yep.
All right, we got one more here. Let's listen to this one.
This is Eric.
Hi, this is Paul Castleman again.
Oh, how's it going, Paul?
Very well. I have the contract. There's stuff in it that has me a tad confused.
Okay.
Can I delay the signing to have a friend look at it?
Yeah, no problem at all. Well, can I ask you,
Okay,
what is it that has you confused? Is there anything I can help you with?
Just the legalese. I don't trust myself. I'm good with literature when it
And
has
we're
a
not-
plot.
We're not
But not
putting a lockbox on there. It's kind of a generic contract. It's pre-made. We don't put a lockbox on there when there's tenants. That's only for vacant properties. There is some things that are in there that it's like a blanket contract that we use for all of our every kind of deal. We only have like 4 different deals that we do. So if there's anything that you do, you and him do come up with and you have questions about, please write them down. And then would I be able to talk to you tomorrow or?
I don't know exactly when he's going to look at it, but it won't be very long.
Okay. So maybe I'll just try back Monday.
I would mirror that. You don't know when exactly he'd be able to look at it. Get him to elaborate a little bit more on that. Because remember, we want to pinpoint this timeline. When do you think you'll be able to get it to him? When do you think he'll be able to review it? When do you think you'll have answers? When can we hop back on a call?
And
And see if you-
also, Josh, do you guys train on rebuttals on this, rebuttal that the seller had? Would you guys script this?
So we don't script it, but that's part of our training. So I would identify this as resistance.
Mhm.
Okay. So whenever we're training on resistance, we identify where in our call. I always ask on Wednesday, where in our call do we typically see resistance? So we'll go through, we'll say at the beginning of the call, right? Okay, cool. Well, what else? Maybe it's asking about motivation. Okay, well, where else? Asking about money. Okay, where else? When we're making the offer. All right, and where else? When we get on the purchase agreement call. Okay, when we're going over the purchase agreement call. So we make a list of all these things. Then when we're role playing, we run through all of those situations. And we put ourselves in that situation so that we get really good at just the whole goal is that we want everything that could be said in these moments that we've already practiced it dozens, if not hundreds of times already. And that way we can just react and we don't have to think about what to say, right? We want it to become muscle memory.
Mhm.
So by practicing this every week, that's where it becomes muscle memory. So yeah, I would just say whenever you guys are going over resistance and stuff like that, just make sure you identify where in your calls you guys see resistance and then put yourselves in those situations and practice it.
Yeah.
You got everything taken care of, and hopefully you'll have your questions put
Monday-
together by then.
Monday should be perfect.
Awesome.
That way,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he lied to you as well. I think he lied to you in saying that he said he doesn't understand the legality and stuff like that. So he said that he has some questions, and then he says that he doesn't understand it. So that doesn't necessarily make sense to me. And I like your approach of like, hey, well, if you don't mind me asking, after you had a chance to look it over, I mean, was there anything that jumped out at you that you had a question about? So like you had the right idea and asking, is there anything I can help you with?
he'll have, because I know if
In-
he
in all
has to
fairness-
do it over the week.
He signed it right after I got off the phone with him.
All right, let's, I want to see how the rest of this goes. That's awesome. That's really good.
Again.
Perfect.
But I'm pretty sure he'll have it
That's my man,
tomorrow.
Castleman.
It's not a long contract, and I don't understand contracts.
No problem at all.
Since there's no real estate agent involved, I figured I would have someone look at it. Usually a real estate agent takes care of that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm working on my own here.
Right. It's pretty much a straightforward contract that says
Huh?
we have 30 days to buy it, but it says a 45-day inspection period. Like I said, it's like for commercial properties. It's not why we need 45 days. We come there
Sheriff
to look
was
at it
over.
twice, maybe time.
That's
What's
like our ninth pair.
One thing, Eric really starts talking out of his butt a lot. And I don't even know what that means. But yeah, I mean, and Eric, we role played on this, a lot. So just, I don't even know where you're going with that. That's only for commercial properties.
I was
yeah.
actually taking the call in my car, driving down Route 130 at the same time.
Still not a good excuse.
Stops within 3 weeks, and then we typically close 3 to 5 weeks. So any other questions, please feel free to write them down, then we'll go over them on Monday.
Excellent. Thank you so
All right.
much.
And you can call me anytime during the weekend if you do figure something out. I pick up it's getting forwarded to my phones when I'm out of the office.
Okay. And after I sign it, it will go to you and you'll know that I did.
Correct. Automatically, it'll tell me that you signed it.
Great. Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, Paul. Talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
Take care.
Yeah, that one's a weird one. Yeah, just breaking down that, what I would have done, I think you had the right idea. When he said I had some questions, I would go into it and say, hey, not a problem. Again, my goal is to make sure you're 100% comfortable with everything. So after reviewing it and looking it over, was there anything that jumped out at you that you didn't quite, you didn't feel comfortable with, or maybe you had a question on? Okay, cool. And then you said you wanted to talk to your friend. Okay, well, when do you think you'd be able to get it over to him? And then he's like, well, I don't know exactly when he'd be able to look it over. I would mirror that. I would say, you don't know exactly when he'd be able to look it over? Get him to elaborate a little bit more on that. Again, what we're looking for here is someone to be wishy-washy. So they're starting to be wishy-washy. So when they are, I want to dive into it. When I dive into it and I identify, hey, he's probably lying to me. Say, hey, pull back a little bit and say, hey, listen, I get this feeling you're just not 100% comfortable with doing this right now, and that's okay, and I think a part of this call too is, I think you not hounding him to get it signed, I think that he felt more comfortable, and I think that's probably why he signed it right when he got off the phone. But that would have been my process right then and there. And if he would have answered everything correctly when I'm asking and digging into, well, you don't think he'd be able to review it, or you don't know when he'd be able to review it. Again, pinpointing some of those timelines and then scheduling a specific time to get back on a call. Okay, so you said Monday. Great. So I'll be in the office at 9. Can I call you at 9:30 Monday morning to make sure I can address any questions you might have, get this thing wrapped up, and make sure you're 100% comfortable with everything. And then at that point, schedule that call. You got it. Boom. And again, at the end of the day, if you have any questions, feel free to text me, call me, whatever you need to do over the weekend. I'm here for you. And I'll, again, make sure my whole goal is make sure you're 100% comfortable. And leave it at that.
Awesome.
This is great, though. I'm glad you brought this up, Phil. I think this is something that everyone deals with, and it's just a matter of having, how do you handle these specific situations, and hopefully you can start to see the rules that we have when we have certain objections, how we handle them. So, I mean, with all of that being said, you guys have any questions on anything that we covered? Anyone?
Josh, are you going to be posting this on Facebook or a small group folder?
I'm going to put it in the recordings folder. I'll have Susie upload that today.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hopping on. Hopefully this was helpful for everyone. Phil, go make that call, man. Make that
Yeah,
manager follow-up call, get that deal signed. And
Yeah.
let me know how that call goes, okay?
Yeah, you got it.
Bit of
I appreciate it.
accountability.
Yep, I'm probably gonna just knock on the door. I'll be there today anyway. All
All right, man. Well, good luck.
right, guys, take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thank you.